As a business owner in the self-storage industry, or really as a business owner in any industry, one of our primary jobs is to be looking into the future to see what's coming at us. What are the trends that are happening now and in the future that are going to affect the industry that we're in? Let me share with you the 3 trends I see that are going to have a big impact on us as self-storage owners in 2019. Hello, my name is Mark Helm, and I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage. And what I do is I support the small investor who wants to get in the self-storage business or who wants to grow their self-storage business, strategically do so in a way that creates true wealth and a fulfilling career. And I have courses, both free and paid for, that are on the website, thequickstartacademy.com or creatingwealththroughselfstorage.com. And I see 3 trends that I think are going to have a big impact on us this year. And the first one I've talked about some, but I really think its time has come, and that is making data-driven decisions. Back in the day, we would be driving and see some land or see a building and think, man, that would make a good self-storage facility. We would go out and buy the property or buy the land and then build and put self-storage in. At some point in the early 2000s, I started getting feasibility reports that would look at the supply demand for that location and come up with some estimate of what the demand might be for that site if we put storage on it. That was my first dive into using data to make decisions. Those feasibility reports have saved my tail a few times. You know, I used to tell people self-storage was a very boring industry. The biggest innovation in our industry for the longest time was just the advent of climate control storage. That came in the late 70s, early 80s. And for years I would tell people that's been the biggest innovation we've had in this industry. I don't say that anymore. This industry's changing, and it's changing fast. In fact, it's changing so fast it's hard for me to keep up with it sometimes. And one of the biggest changes I see is how owners and managers make decisions on a daily basis. You know, I hardly even run a preliminary analysis now unless I know how much storage per capita there is for that location or that facility that I'm looking at. I know exactly what our pricing is and how it compares to each of our competitors in each submarket in which we have facilities. I know almost in live time on a daily basis what our competitors are charging and offering, and we know day by day what we need to say to our competition to be able to compete with whatever our competitors in that submarket may be offering that day for their storage facilities. All of this now is possible for the small investors. It used to be that these type of programs were reserved just for the big companies, just for the big players, because they were the only ones that could afford having an IT company or developers on staff that could design these programs. Now they're out for small investors like us to use. Yes, they cost money. Yes, there is a learning curve. Yes, these aren't always exactly correct. But if you're not using data to make pricing decisions, make decisions on where you want to put your storage facilities, how much space you want to bring online based on what the demand will be in that submarket and what the barrier of entry is. If you're not making those kind of data-driven decisions, you're going to be irrelevant pretty soon, if you're not already. As owners, we're going to have to experiment, we're going to have to fail, we're going to have to really change up how we make decisions on what we're doing. This industry is becoming very sophisticated at a very fast rate. As a small investor in self-storage, it's more critical than ever that we stay at pace with the larger players. The beauty is, because we don't have a lot of hierarchy within our organization, we can make and implement decisions very quick. If you have access to almost lifetime data of what's going on in your submarket, you can make instant decisions on what to offer, where to put your resources, and where not to put your resources. It's going to take learning new skill sets, and it's going to take investing in new types of software. Do it. Currently, we're using Yardi Matrix, and we're using Veritex Solutions. The next trend that I see is the downsizing trend, the continued downsizing trend. Did you know that every day 10,000 more baby boomers turn 65? Do you know that that is going to continue for the next 10 to 12 years? In my opinion, it's very likely that that demographic trend is going to lead to a lot of homes downsizing. And when people downsize, self-storage is an answer for their downsizing. So as we look into the future and we're making decisions about to invest or not, where to invest, what to create, this is a trend to really keep your eye on. This is a trend that's going to have a very positive effect on our industry. My coaching is look at where people are moving to, look at where they're moving from, and as you're designing your facilities and thinking about what features you want to put in your facilities, whether you're building, converting, or even buying existing, think about who your customer base is. What we've seen is that the boomers tend to like full service facilities with lots of different services to choose from. So as we make our decisions this year, we know that this continued downsizing trend is affecting a lot of our thinking and our decision making. So that's the second big trend I see that's impacting our industry this year. And the third is automation. Now, I'm sure you've heard a lot about automation over the past couple years, but I really think this is the year that automation is going to really impact the decisions that we make as storage owners. The millennial generation has really upped and increased its spending power. And millennials do business very differently than boomers do business. I used to say this, but I've actually seen it now, that if you have a manager or a person and you have a kiosk and a boomer walks into the office, they'll go to the manager. But I've actually seen a manager in a kiosk and a millennial go in, and the millennial goes to the kiosk. Millennials love automation. They're used to automation. They've got an app on their phone for almost everything they do. The millennial likes the experience of being in control of the process. They're used to being in control. They're used to getting their own data. They're used to making their own decisions. And for the most part, they're used to using apps and using their phone to purchase. If you're not able to rent online now, you're irrelevant to many of the millennials. If you don't have a strong online presence and the ability to market online, the ability to rent online, the ability to pay online, they're probably not even going to know that you're there. They don't know that you are totally irrelevant and invisible to a huge percentage of the potential market. And believe me, the millennials are even bigger than the baby boomers. Each year, the spending power and size of millennials needing our services is going to continue to grow. So my coaching is automate wherever you can. in our company, as we're expanding and putting new projects in place, using automation is really driving a lot of the decisions we're making. Like what key code pad to use, what services to offer. I had a partner harping on me that we ought to be having the key code where instead of just entering your code, somebody driving in could hold a barcode up or a phone up and go in. And I kept resisting, like, what's the big deal about entering a code? Well, since then it's gotten to the point now where you don't even have to hold your phone up. As you get close to the keypad will read the data on your phone and open the gate if you have a code and if you're not in default. Stay relevant. Embrace automation and embrace technology. When I first got going in this business and I started tracking numbers, we used to earn $250,000 to $255,000 of gross income per employee. Today, we've got that number up to $350,000. Now, we're getting gross income of $350,000 per full-time employee. And the difference between the $250,000 and the $350,000 has been automation, kiosks and automation. Now imagine that, just think about that for a second. How many industries are there out there that earn $350,000, over $250,000 for one full-time employee? And there's none I can really think of. This is a fantastic business, and part of what's made this business fantastic is the automation. We have kiosks now in all of our properties, not just the small ones, but even the big ones over 50,000 square feet. Why? To stay relevant, to have services that a certain segment of our population wants, like millennials. And what we've noticed is we're able to reduce our employee costs, our personnel costs, because we now know with the kiosks, we can track when transactions are done, and we know in a month's period when are the slow periods, and we can run a large facility at certain times of the month with just the kiosks. So as we continue getting this downward pressure on rental rates, I think we're going to have over the next year, automation will help keep the profitability up. So embrace it, don't resist it. These are the trends that I see. Now, who knows where technology is going? Perhaps the next place it'll take us in this industry is that there'll be a program that the customers can rent from us that will inventory their goods as they put them in their storage units. They'll have a wireless camera where they can see their goods or look at their inventory list, and it'll save them trips into their storage units. Who knows what automation and technology is going to make available that the customers will want and pay for. Just keep an open mind and don't resist automating and using technology in today's self-storage world. So these are the trends that I see that are going to impact us in 2019. I'm curious what your thoughts are. If you see something that I'm missing, or if you have your own ideas, leave it in the comments. Share your ideas so everyone can learn from them in the comment section below. So thank you very much. I look forward to being with you this year as we grow our self-storage businesses. And my name's Mark Helm. I'm the author of Creating Wealth Through Self-Storage, and I'm the creator of the Storage World Analyzer. That's the financial software modeling tool, again, technology, that we use to analyze and decide if we're going to do a self-storage project or not. It's the only cloud-based financial analysis program specifically designed for self-storage that there is on the market today. If you're not using it, check it out. StorageWorldAnalyzer.com or CreatingWealthThroughSelfStorage.com. I look forward to being with you again next week, and I'll see you then.